breakdown?
Oh, yeah. All right. We are live. Give it a couple of, at least 30 seconds before I can go live on Instagram. But there we go. We are live and we're here.
We're here. The sun is shining.
The sun is shining. The tank is clean and we are getting. The tank is clean.
I was like, the tank? You have a fish tank?
Finding Nemo, just bam. Every time someone says the sun is shining, immediately I go, the tank is clean.
Well, what was it? We were just talking. I don't remember, but Jacob was really excited about something, and we were trying to figure out. All we could remember was shark bait. Hoo ha ha! And then it was like the next day, I was like, "It's what a huckaloogie!" What a huckaloogie!
That is hilarious. I love that. All right, there we go. The Instagram started. So welcome, one and all. We are here, Just Massage Therapists podcast, where we are talking about things. And at the end of the day, we're just massage therapists. We're just women. We're just business owners. We're just wives, mothers, all the different things that we can be. And these are just our opinions. Today, the lumbosacral plexus.
That is today. But first, I would actually like to do a shout out to Leslie's Stitches.
Oh, yeah.
We got some cups and shirts. And do you want to, or I'll stand up and turn around, show you the back.
Yeah. There's the back of the shirt.
So, yeah, we'll put, sorry?
Ooh, and the pens. I don't have a pen near me. Oh, I do have a pen near me.
I don't have a pen.
We got pens.
We got pens.
With the pens with all our stuff on it and the, thing. Stylus, thank you.
The thingamabob. There's also doohickeys and thingamabobs.
I just got really red. Do you see that?
Yeah, the sun is shining.
How did that... I don't know what is going on, people.
Chelsea's sunburnt.
Apparently, I'm just super sunburnt. Hold on, let me see if I
can... There you go.
Before, when it was this bright, I looked like a freaking vampire. So, it is what it is.
We're good.
Oh my gosh, so ridiculous. So, yeah, we got some merch and it's really cool. These aren't available right now, but eventually we'll be having some stuff like this available. And yeah, we're looking at a bunch of options at the moment. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
It is. So if you're here watching via YouTube, we'll be able to see what you say in the chat. If you're here watching via Instagram, we'll be able to see on and off what you say. We have to sort of go back and forth. Unfortunately, if you're here via stream, we can't see what you're saying. Apologies. Still haven't fixed that or figured it out, honestly. I've tried. I have, but we're very happy to see you. And yeah, let's get into it. Lumbar plexus, sacral plexus, or if you combine them, the lumbosacral plexus is our topic today. And although I am our nerves person, she is the one that loves these ones so much. So
I do.
Cora, take it away.
All right. So the lumbar plexus specifically is actually one of my absolute favorite plexuses in the body. It's actually one of the main ones that I'll actually sit and love just because I want to.
That's amazing. I love that.
I like it. And the sacral plexus too. I like the sacral plexus, but the sacral plexus just makes me happy because of the pudendal nerve.
I do love the pudendal nerve. I agree with you on the pudendal nerve. So, do you want me to throw the pictures, like the base pictures, up right now?
Sure, that would be awesome.
Okay, cool. Where are you? This is the one I want to share. Right. There we go.
All right, so here we have it. So here we have our lumbosacral plexus. Would you be able to zoom in for me, Chelsea, a little bit? There we go. All right. So here we have our lovely lumbar plexus specifically here. So the lumbar plexus is made up of the ventral rami of nerves L1 to L4. And they actually they actually make up 2/3 or they innervate 2/3 of the muscles of the thigh for the most part. So we have our, the femoral nerve coming off of L2 to L4 here, and he is going to come down, and he is actually the nerve that is going to pass in and through that psoas, come down to innervate our quadriceps. Okay, so he innervates all the quadriceps, there are no exceptions, and all the hip flexors. Okay, so it's more specifically the psoas in itself is innervated by the lumbar plexus, because the lumbar plexus is actually part of the psoas. In a cadaver lab, you can't really separate the two. You either have the psoas or you have the plexus. You can't get both. And there's a beautiful picture of that, just showing how interconnected they actually are. Another main nerve coming off of that lumbar plexus is our obturator nerve. That obturator nerve is made up of the nerve roots L2 to L4, same as that's a femoral nerve, but he's going to come in and he's going to innervate all of our adductors. Now, and sometimes, I don't know, just jokes, adductors.
Oh my gosh.
It's the femoral nerve that has the sometimes. The femoral nerve will sometimes innervate pectineus.
Yeah, right
sometimes the obturator nerve and the femoral nerve share pectineus. They're swingers. There's a couple that are swingers.
It's a little thruple there.
That obturator nerve.
It's a little thruple there.
A little bit. So that obturator nerve is going to come down and innervate all of our adductors. And yeah, so because of the relationship of that lumbar plexus with that psoas, he is one of the main fight or flight muscles, because the psoas is our primary hip flexor. He is the muscle that is going to fight, kick that bear, or run away. Whatever it's going to do, this is psoas. It's going to initiate that flexion aspect of it. So whenever we are in a state of sympathetic discharge, or we are in our fight or flight mode, we are actually, everything is firing. So that whole lumbar plexus is firing. So that kind of explains, as a result of that, that's why we hold a lot of our tension in our abdomen, just because of that constant, and we spend a lot of our time in fight or flight, whether it's road rage, whether it's an actual bear, or just stress over getting up and being on time for work in the morning. The brain doesn't recognize the difference. Like our rational thought processes do, but the nervous system itself is going to initially react the exact same. So it takes some time for it to regulate. And I think that I know this is one of the main reasons why I love the psoas so much, because treating the psoas will reflexively release and cause relaxation throughout the whole lower limb. Okay, now we've only talked about the quads and the adductors, but the lumbar plexus itself actually shares nerve roots with our sacral plexus. So the sacral plexus is made up. So the sacral plexus itself is the ventral rami of S1 to S4, but the lumbosacral trunk is L4 and L5. Okay, so here we kind of have a bit of a crossover as far as nerve formations. Okay, so that sacral plexus is going to come in. He's going to innervate our glutes, also muscles that don't get to relax, through the superior and inferior gluteal nerves, which are basically, in a nutshell, L4 to S2. So those, in treating that psoas, we are also, because of that nerve root, those shared nerve roots, L4, L5, we are also reflexively addressing the glutes. So I love that so much. It's a multi-purpose treatment, and I love the muscle for so many other reasons, but it's the muscle that makes me love this plexus. I'm just going to put that out there. And then one of the nerves that I love, we're just going to talk about that pudendal nerve because I love it so much. It's not on this. Oh, he's right there. So we have the pudendal nerve, which actually controls our external anal sphincter, our urethral sphincter, and the muscles of the perineum. So he is basically literally keeping all of our bodily functions coming from the underworld inside of us.
Oh, the underworld. The pudendal nerve controls the underworld.
It does.
Oh my gosh, maybe Cerberus was a poodle.
Maybe he
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, that would be so funny. I'm just imagining a 3-headed poodle, like a toy poodle, not even a real poodle. That's hilarious. Sorry for those of you who have real big poodles. Oh, toy poodles are real poodles too.
Anyway,
they're just cute.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop talking.
Let's go back to the nerves. It's so bad, Cora. We're so bad. Oh my god.
And then, yeah, so the sciatic nerve is with the glutes and also the lateral rotators. Okay, there are branches of the sacral plexus that are going to come in and innervate all of our lateral rotators, the quadratus femoris, internus, externus, piriformis. Those are all of them. They all are going to have branches for there. And superior and inferior glenoid. Thank you, Chelsea. I was like, there's 2 more. I was about to do the acronym, and I was like, I'll just leave it alone for right now. But the big nerve here that comes off of that sacral plexus is actually our sciatic nerve. So he comes off of the nerve roots L4 to S3, also sharing a nerve root with that lumbar plexus. So again, treating the psoas actually is going to affect the whole lower limb. Okay, so the sciatic nerve is actually 2 nerves. Okay, so we have our tibial and peroneal nerve,
also known as the common fibular,
or the fibular. Yep. So they're going to come in together, and they're actually enclosed in a sheath. Okay, the sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in the body, but it's secretly 2. And it's going to come in and innervate the whole posterior aspect of the thigh and the leg, actually, and the whole lower limb, the whole lower leg from the knee down with its branches. But the sciatic nerve itself, the true sciatic nerve, is going to innervate all of the hamstrings. Okay, so this is actually kind of fun for me too, because one of the adductors, adductor magnus, is also a bit of a swinger because he has an obturator nerve and the sciatic nerve, because he is so magnificent that the hamstrings need a piece of him. They're like, no, adductors, you don't just get them all. We need some too. So adductor magnus is like, okay, I suppose. So his innervation is shared, and he's actually, so that's my absolute favorite muscle, but my adductor longus or magnus is actually one of the favorite muscles for me to talk about because of just how he runs and how he is an adductor, but he's also a hamstring. He's a hamstring.
And you love the adductor tubercle.
And I do love the adductor tubercle, also specifically for adductor magnus. Again, even the femur was like, you are so magnificent, adductor magnus.
You know what? The other beautiful part about the adductor magnus is that it attaches on a completely different surface of the pelvis than the other adductors.
Yeah, he's on that inferior
whereas those guys are all throughout the line. Like there's the pectineal line and the superior ramus, and it's on the inferior ramus. So yeah, it's in and of itself just a lone wolf muscle. Yeah, he's like awesome. The sheriff of the adductors.
Yeah, he is. He is the sheriff of the adductors. I like that. So at just above the popliteal fossa, where the hamstrings actually divide. We have the tibial nerve, which comes straight through that popliteal fossa, and he innervates the whole posterior compartment of the leg as well as the foot, the sole of the foot. So again, for a refresher, those posterior compartment muscles are Tom, Dick, and Harry tendons. So the flexor hallucis longus, our flexor digitorum, tibialis posterior, our popliteus is in there. Our, oh my goodness, plantaris, soleus, and gastrocs. I don't like plantaris. I pretend like.
Well, in some people, he doesn't exist.
I know. Isn't that fun?
Just like plantaris longus.
Yeah, and they're both P
and
names.
they're both being weeded out of humanity. It's the next step of our evolution is weeding out those two muscles.
But you know what's really interesting? Plantaris is actually very well developed in people with African American descent.
I didn't know that.
So I wonder if that has a lot to do with the way of life, because there's still tribes in Africa. So I wonder if it's our sedentary lifestyle that's actually causing plantaris specifically to weed out.
That's an interesting thought. I love that.
Yeah, I just once I learned that, I was like, hey, but I haven't actually found somebody who doesn't have a plantaris. I haven't been lucky enough.
Lots of people without plantaris longus.
Yeah, but I've never found anybody without a plantaris, so that's on my list. I'm waiting for that. One day. And then so that's our tibial nerve. Who also comes through a tunnel that we don't really talk about too much, but that tarsal tunnel along that medial malleoli, medial malleoli, just posterior in that malleolar groove. Kind of lives in there. So that's a tunnel we don't really talk about, but it is another compression site that I feel we should bring more awareness to, because people don't really think, oh, the tarsal tunnel. We all know the carpal tunnel. But yeah, so then the peroneal nerve or the fibular nerve is actually going to branch off, follow our biceps femoris, because the best friend goes lateral. So he's going to follow that biceps femoris, and he's actually going to wrap around the head of the fibula. So depending on your education, you would have learned that the head of the fibula is an endangerment site, and it's because of that peroneal nerve. Because it is very superficial. It is a very common injury site, or superficial-ish. It's wraps around that head of the fibula, so it makes it a good site for compression. And then from there, it is going to, then we have our superficial peroneal nerve and our deep peroneal nerve. And that superficial peroneal nerve is going to come down and supply the lovely peroneals on the lateral aspect of the cruce, or the lower leg, just along that fibula. And then we have our deep peroneal nerve, which is going to come in and innervate all of our dorsiflexors and extensors of the toes. So tibant, extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum.
Longus. And brevis.
Longus. Peroneus and peroneus tertius, who should not be a peroneus
I know, it's
muscle.
so weird that they still have it as a peroneal muscle, because it's not a peroneal muscle. It's, yeah. He breaks the rules. You don't like things that break rules.
No. Well, I remember the peroneals because perennials grow in the ground, and the peroneals plantar flex.
That was pretty good.
So I grow peroneals in my garden. I always forget that the perennials and peroneals are not actually the same. They're just peroneals.
That is funny. I want to point out here too, with both the lumbar and the sacral plexuses, or them together as lumbosacral, they have a lot of cutaneous branches that come off. One of the more tricky cutaneous branches is actually the lateral femoral cutaneous branch right here. There is a huge compression site right underneath the inguinal ligament here. because it literally sits just underneath where the inguinal ligament starts on the ASIS. A lot of people actually have tingling and numbness down the lateral side of their legs because of this compression here. It's got its own name, and I forgot to look it up because I never remember the name of it. Which is ridiculous. I'll look it up later. But I actually have to deal with that one. This one's really irritating.
I actually had a couple clients coming in telling me it was sciatica. And I was like, oh, so where does it hurt? And then they were like, it's tingling along the, and they pointed out to the lateral thigh. I'm like,
That's
okay,
definitely not sciatica.
We'll
it's not even the sacral plexus. Like, it's not even the sacral region.
No.
It's the upper. It's L2, L3. So it doesn't even have anything to do with the sacral trunk.
But I think there's that conception of sciatic. If it's a leg nerve pain, it's sciatic.
Which you probably remember. I hate that word. I hate sciatica. I hate that term. It's the worst term ever. It's awful.
Well, yeah, so generic.
It's too generic. Yeah. So there's a lateral one there. There's a medial one that comes off of the obturator for the medial portion. There's an anterior one that comes off of the femoral. See the anterior femoral cutaneous comes off there. And then the posterior one comes out of the sciatic plexus. So all the sensation of your thigh, except for the posterior, is served by the lumbar region, whereas the the posterior portion, and that goes all the way down into the leg as well, is all served by the sacral region, which I think is pretty cool. It just follows along with the nerves and what they do, right, and what muscles they go to. So it's pretty easy to remember your dermatomes versus your myotomes with the leg.
Yeah, actually, like 3 main nerves.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. This is a pretty, like, compared to the brachial plexus, which is always so in-depth and so crazy and complicated, these guys are pretty simple.
They are. And the brachial plexus is the only one that has divisions like that, though. It's the only one that has like the posterior and anterior divisions. There's no other ones. And I think that's actually what makes it so complicated. If it was just these are the nerves, this is what they do.
But there's the roots, there's the trunks, there's the divisions, there's the cords, then there are the actual branches. And there are many branches that come off at different levels there. It's interesting. Yeah, I love it. Very interesting. I like these guys. I do love that when you have things like this psoas that's compressing on the lumbar region, I just want everybody to remember that our spine itself, as the cord, the spinal cord itself, it ends in and around L2. So all of these, like anything that's coming out below that, whether it be the lumbar region or the sacral region or even the coccygeal, those are all already put together bundles of nerves that are just going down through the hole, basically the canal that's there. It's kind of neat. I love it. The vertebral foramen. It's really neat that these guys are all branches of branches.
I love the name that is in the spinal cord, the cauda. I love that we have a horse's tail.
Quite fun. If you were to cut open the bones there, what you would see would be a lot of branches or a lot of nerve tubes running down that look a lot like a tail.
I love it.
The other really cool part about all of this, of course, so many things, with your sympathetic versus parasympathetic, your sympathetic division inside the spinal cord itself ends at L2, at the same level as the spinal cord ends. But as soon as they leave, they are going to talk to and they're going to communicate with nerves all the way down to the base of the sacrum and through all the other parts all the way up to the cervical region. But down here, your psoas literally sits on top of the chain, the sympathetic chain ganglia. So if the psoas is crushing on those at all, you are going to have some real weird firing in your sympathetic nervous system. So
Yeah, and it's not hard
Yep.
for that psoas to become
Look at that.
hypertonic and start compressing
Like,
either, especially with the
look
lifestyle
at
that we
that
have.
psoas right there. It's literally, look at all the fibers coming off of the
We
lumbar region there.
we don't see the psoas.
So
We'll see.
crazy to me. But yeah, underneath these fibers right here, right where you see these trunks coming out. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I heard you, and they just didn't. Whew! It
Okay.
didn't like process until
Sister.
I said all that. But look at the psoas here. See all these wonderful fibers that are coming down from the psoas to get down in there. Right underneath it are all these trunks. So this on the right side here, technically in your vision it's the left, but right side of the body, all of these nerves and the trunk ganglia that are reflexive or are associated with them, going all the way down, can be crushed by the psoas major until you get to the end where the sacral plexus comes through. So you're right, it's all the lumbar stuff that gets crushed. That's what she meant by that sympathetic response, is the crushing can happen here along the chain ganglia of the sympathetic nervous system. It's freaking crazy. And then
So fun. I love
your sciatic, which is so funny to me, your sciatic comes on top of there, so it's more anterior to where the fibers of psoas are finishing off, and then it ends up going much deeper than it and going backwards. It's crazy. It's just crazy to me. I mean, I love it, and it's crazy. Yeah, I find it very interesting. The other thing I find really interesting is the way the obturator nerve sits and where it sits. Like, look at that. It's a coming from L234, right? And it's coming down, and instead of going through to the adductors along the front, it's actually going straight through our pelvis. It's using the lesser sciatic notch and then coming out through the obturator foramen, which, by the way, bunch of connective tissue in that obturator foramen with little holes allowing for nerves to go through. Also in that obturator foramen are the attachment points of two muscles, one on the front, one on the back. And if those are screwed up, you're going to screw up your adductors, not just your abductors, or sorry, external rotators. Which means every time you work on the piriformis, which will be back here, the piriformis, the gemini, the obturators, and quadratus femoris, every time you're working on your deep six, you're also reflexively working on the obturator nerve, aka your adductors.
the pelvis is very much your
Right?
foundation.
Okay, and I want you guys to picture this. This is a really good pelvis in a healthy position, but what happens if we crank it out one side or both sides, or crank it in one side or the other side? What happens to the nerves that are going through the pelvis, the nerves that are going underneath the inguinal ligament, the ones that are going through the greater sciatic notch here? They're all getting shifted in ways they shouldn't be shifted. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
So crazy.
I mean, we have above here the thoracolumbar fascia that is connected then down into the sacral fascia, that's connected over here to the gluteal fascia, which is all connected to the iliotibial band.
Which also is connected directly to the linea aspera, which surrounds the adductors, hamstrings, and the quads.
And those ones are all directly connected to the popliteal, which is then directly connected to the septum, all the different septa, the three different septa of the lower limb of the leg, which is then directly connected to the plantar fascia.
And why is assessment important?
Oh, yeah. Assessment's important for all of this. It's like, well, which stage of this is actually the starting point? Because you can plan and you can treat symptoms as much as you want, but until you figure out where the actual starting point is, you're not gonna fix nothing. Nothing will
Nope.
be
Put
resolved.
Band-Aids on it.
Yeah. So if it's the plantar fascia that is having an issue, and you have plantar fasciitis, and that is its primary plantar fasciitis because you did something with your feet, you're gonna have all of this messed up, all the way up. And remember, it's all connected into the thoracolumbar fascia. Yeah, and if it ends up having issues and it gets to the anterior side here, it's then going to have issues with the inguinal ligament, which is connected to all the fascia of your abdominal muscles.
Yeah. Fun.
I can't wait until we do a fascial course. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got. I don't know. How are you feeling? Uh-oh.
Yeah, so that's the sacrolumbar plexus.
Can you hear me now? Ah!
Yeah, you just froze for
Okay,
a second
cool.
there.
I must have just put the computer in a weird spot. So we have some not so awesome news. We are on episode 20 is our next episode, which is kind of a big celebration, but unfortunately, we are going to have to possibly move our time and or our normal day for doing podcasts. So we will let you know, but we won't be here next week. Cora is gone, and I am working. So we will let you know. We'll put an announcement up when we know the changes that are going to be made, if we're going to be putting it to a different day or a different time on Thursdays. It's kind of a little up in the air, so we're going to basically say that season 1 is closing up at episode 19, and we will restart. I really hoped we would get to 20 for season 1, but we'll do an announcement. That'll be episode 20 will be our announcement. And then we'll restart season 2 of the podcast when we know our dates and our times. And yeah, hopefully we'll even have a list of what we want to be doing in those times. We'll do some pre-planning instead of just deciding the week before.
Good work. That might help.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
It'd be funny if we did it.
Yeah, because it's just not you and me. It's not a thing we would do, honestly. We would talk about doing it, and then we'd have some great ideas, and then we would not put them on dates, and we would just be like, "Hey, let's do that idea." That sounds like us.
What are we gonna do today? What are we gonna do today, Brian?
The same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Are you calling me Brain and you Pinky? I feel like Brain would be either a Virgo or would definitely not be a Leo.
But Pinky's
Pinky
kind of a Gemini.
could be a Gemini. Yes, it is. I'm not saying that Leos aren't smart. I am very smart, but I don't feel like I'm the brain trying to take it. Maybe if it was a fire sign, it'd probably be Aries. Oh, you know what? Or Sagittarius, maybe, but not Leo. I don't think Leo wants to take over the world. Leo already thinks they have the world, so they don't need to take it over. Like, it's already mine.
Of course it is.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was pretty funny. I love it. As always, we love having you guys. We're going to have some more announcements coming up. We've got a double feature in August that we've been posting and sending out to people. So, if you want to come do the 2 days of cupping, you'll get your cupping 1 and cupping 2. We'll have some more things to announce for the fall once we get some schedules straightened out and we know what we're going to be putting out there for the fall. And yeah. Oh, we do have a cupping one again in July. If you guys want to come and do your cupping one, then the double feature would be good. July's. We know that July is kind of like the month nobody wants to do anything. I get it. I get it. Nobody wants, but August, we've got it. The last, not the last weekend, but the second last weekend, I think, of August. So if you want to learn
Yeah, the
cupping
20,
before the
20.
new school years start and people start coming in because they're stressed with the new school years, if you want to learn cupping before then, August is the time to do it. Yeah, and of course, we generally have limited availability. We'll go usually up to 8, but we can work with if we do have people who want to come and we're already at our 8 limit. We'll be able to look around and work with it and see. But it is 16 hours altogether. It's a great course. Cora does amazingly. She'll never say that herself, but I'll say it for her. Okay.
All right.
That's it. I think that's all we got. I love those plexuses. They're quite fun, but you can only talk about them so long.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we're going to say a good night, and we'll see you another episode, and have a fantastic evening. And we will keep you updated as to what is going on.
All the things.
Good night, all, and good night. Oh, I forgot another button.